try to represent the input patterns in machine learning or other language model into some sort of a concise way. Now once we have such patterns represented in a concise way, like what we do in zipping of things, zipping of files, when we see a certain pattern in the non-seen output, we just map it to a certain pattern that is already been previously seen, and we try to predict what could be the next pattern. That is what happens in generative AI. So generative AI basically tries to apply the deep learning and the language modeling technique in order to do things that we are doing right now, like we ask ChatGPT to tell us certain things when we know certain we want to have certain topics described, or we give it a description or a book to ChatGPT and we asked it to summarize it for us, or we give it a certain part of the song and we wanted to predict the next lyrics, okay, without doing a search, basically generating something which does not exist. So generative AI basically focuses on once I give it a pattern, using the contents of the pattern, it tries to predict how this pattern furthers into things that are not already known. So that is what generative AI in briefly does. So it's a very, I can say, very small section of AI that we can talk about, but in today's age, generative AI is all pervasive. Using generative AI based applications, you see a lot of things being done and a lot of things that are available today. We will see them later. They are powered by generative AI. That is why it's very important. So you get an introduction about what is generally AI is, what do you mean by machine learning, how machine learning helps AI, what is deep learning, and what is generative AI. That is what we learn in this module number 1. The latter part of module number 1, they talk about what services related to AI does the AWS web service provides. So Amazon Web Services have a lot of services dedicated to AI. Those list of those services and what exactly those services are concentrated on, that we learn in this particular part of the module. There is some demo using AWS AI service, how to use it and all, and then there is module 2 wrap up. Okay, generally every module will have, as I last week also told, we saw the AI Foundation course content. Every module will have a module check and it will have certain points towards completion of that particular course. Okay, so this is module 2 syllabus for you. Now the module 3 gives a kind of detailed focus on what exactly generative AI is. Okay, what do you mean by foundation models? Now I said something about language models. Nowadays people have started calling this language model as foundation models. Okay, if you are very new to the use of neural networks and all, language models, as I told you previously, is nothing but you have certain input patterns available to you. It can be a large set of texts, it can be a large set of algorithms, it can be a large set of songs, it can be a large set of anything that looks like something which I need to learn or remember so that I can predict future things. Okay, so that is given input. What language model do is, language model tries to represent it in terms of some representation which is concise. So the size of input may be extremely large, can be considered large enough to be very much large enough to be referred to as infinitism. Okay, but when I represent it using language model, I try to represent it very concisely into certain certain patterns, and these patterns later on can be used to represent the information in terms of something called as vector spaces. And using these vector spaces, I can predict which two patterns are closer, which two patterns are away, and based on that I can define my machine learning problem. And using that machine learning problem, I can further solve certain tasks, like say suppose I'm typing something and my Google search prompts me that you might be typing this sentence or that sentence or that sentence. So we are talking about sentence completion task. Or maybe I describe that I require a picture that has all these components and this particular kind of logo and these kind of color themes. I give it to the Gemini, and Gemini's banana LLM actually, or foundation model, actually provides me an image as output. So whatever these tasks that we are talking about right now, these tasks require certain thing called as a language model, and that is the crux of all these generative AI based solutions. You get to know about what the foundation models are, how foundation models work, and please understand there is no mathematical details here. You can't expect on a AWS course things which are deeply technical. Okay, we have more applicative kind of courses available over here. So you will get to know about what the foundation models are and how the models work, or they actually help generative AI based solutions. Once you know that, we will be learning about what AWS services are based on generative AI. Okay, we'll also know about a service. We'll get a demo of a service called as Amazon Q Developer. So this Amazon Q Developer is a service. That service how can be used, they give you a demo of that. Then we'll also see a lot of use cases of generative AI, and let me just see if somebody is trying to get in. I hope my voice is clearly audible. If there is an issue with respect to voice, please suggest that through unmuting yourself, because I'm not watching the window here. So somebody can point me up if my voice is properly audible. You can do the thumbs up so that I know the voice is okay. Thanks a lot. Somebody is at least listening. Okay, so this is a demo. Then we have this particular demo called as Party Rock and Amazon Bedrock Playground. So this is Amazon Bedrock is another service which is a generative AI based service which allows you to use chat based solutions, or chat what do you call it, as chatbot kind of solutions. It lets you create chatbot kind of a solution based on certain off the shelf language models or foundation level models, where you need not manage how the interaction of these language models are done, how these language models are trained. You are getting them as black box. You just use the pre-trained model into some sort of a generative AI based solution workflow. So what facilitates this particular kind of service, Amazon Bedrock kind of a service, is the AWS service. AWS as cloud service provider manages how to train, how to maintain, how to give the infrastructure for creating foundation level models. Once the model is ready, you can use that model into your workflow of solution that can be used as a generative AI based solution. So you directly learn. So this is, as I told you, the course concentrates on applying things. So a certain degree of understanding about what use cases generative AI can be used, they are taught over here. They also teach you how foundation models help to build the generative AI solution, but they don't go into the details of making you aware of the maths behind or the optimization that goes behind the scenes in training language models. Okay, for that this course will not be helpful, but this course will be definitely helpful. At least this module will be definitely helpful for you to understand the generative AI use cases, how certain AWS services help you create those use cases without even understanding how the basic generative AI models are created. Okay, so you can understand how off the shelf things can be used in order to cook up a solution related to generative AI. That is what focus of module number 3 is. Module number 4 now goes into the detail of something that is today very much useful for everybody, that is to understand